Esther 3:1-15. The king promotes Haman to the position of prime minister and orders all officials to show Haman respect by kneeling and bowing to him. Mordecai refuses, thus infuriating Haman. When Haman learns that Mordecai is a Jew, he makes plans to have all the Jews throughout the Persian Empire killed. I am a Jew, Mordecai explained, and I cannot bow to Haman. Haman plots to destroy the Jews. Sometime later, King Xerxes promoted a man named Haman to the position of prime minister. Haman was the son of Hammedatha, a descendant of Agag. The king ordered all the officials in his service to show their respect for Haman by kneeling and bowing to him. They all did so, except for Mordecai, who refused to do it. The other officials in the royal service asked him why he was disobeying the king's command. Day after day, they urged him to give in, but he would not listen to them. I am a Jew, he explained, and I cannot bow to Haman. So they told Haman about this, wondering if he would tolerate Mordecai's conduct. Haman was furious when he realized that Mordecai was not going to kneel and bow to him. And when he learned that Mordecai was a Jew, he decided to do more than punish Mordecai alone. He made plans to kill every Jew in the whole Persian Empire. In the 12th year of King Xerxes' rule, in the first month, the month of Nisan, Haman ordered the lots to be cast. Purim, they were called, to find out the right day and month to carry out his plot. The 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, was decided on. So Haman told the king, "There is a certain race of people scattered all over your empire and found in every province. They observe customs that are not like those of any other people." Interesting. Moreover, they do not obey the laws of the empire, so it is not in your best interest to tolerate them. If it please your majesty, issue a decree that they are to be put to death. If you do, I guarantee that I will be able to put 375 tons of silver into the royal treasury for the administration of the empire. The king took off his ring, which was used to stamp proclamations and make them official, and gave it to the enemy of the Jewish people, Haman, son of Hammedatha, the descendant of Agag. The king told him, "The people and their money are yours. Do as you like with them." So on the 13th day of the first month, Haman called the king's secretaries and dictated a proclamation to be translated into every language and system of writing used in the empire, and to be sent to all the rulers, governors, and officials. It was issued in the name of King Xerxes and stamped with his ring. Runners took this proclamation to every province of the empire. It contained the instructions that on a single day, the 13th day of Adar, all Jews, young and old, women and children, were to be killed. They were to be slaughtered without mercy, and their belongings were to be taken. The contents of the proclamation were to be made public in every province, so that everyone would be prepared when that day came. At the king's command, the decree was made public in the capital city of Shusha, and runners carried the news to the provinces. The king and Haman sat down and had a drink while the city of Shusha was being thrown into confusion. So Mordecai refused to bow to Haman because he was a Jew, and Jews only worship God. They don't worship humans. That they observe that in the commandments of God. I think his faith is very strong to be able to withstand people's urging him to bow down like day after day, and I'm pretty sure people use were very persuasive in what they said to him. They may have used threats or like coercion also. So like a lot of it reminds me of Daniel, how even like as parent, if we were living in that time, right, and our son is Mordecai or Daniel, we would say, oh, it's not a big deal, it's not something to lose your life over. I mean, that's what I imagine, like, well-meaning parent would say. But the thing is, when you have your eyes on God, and when God is your Lord, and when you're not afraid of like physical death, then that God, you should worship God and not men, and that there's nothing men can do to you, to for you to want to displease God because of men. And so that I think Mordecai is already at that stage, and I think he's at that stage by being a man of faith, by making small decision up to this large decision, always with God, what God says, what God commands, and everything in mind. So yeah. So I think that's he already is very, very mature in his faith. 8 and 9. So Haman first start off by saying that the Jew observe custom and tradition that are not like any other people. So it's like saying, oh, they're different. And then goes on to say that it's not in the king's best interest to tolerate them. So he's saying, don't tolerate them. It's not good, and it's for your best interest not to do it. But it's actually, he has an ulterior motive. And then he sweetened the deal by saying that he will put money into the treasury. So, pretty much I'll pay for this, like mass genocide. But it's kind of deceiving how he first says that, he kind of say that this is for your interest. So it's not what I'm getting out of it, it's what you're getting out of it, kind of like thing. Yeah, that. And yes, today people still face danger and death because of their faith. And to me, I think that even though it's a sad reality, it's a reality, and it's foretold by the Bible. And as Christians, we know that our life will be faced with persecution. It ranges from mild to severe. Some people are facing danger and death every day. They have to hide in underground like churches to worship. They have to meet in secret, things like that. And I've read testimonies, especially of missionaries to other third world country, and like some of them are even facing like powers like of the occult, like like they're seeing some really, really scary type things. And of course I have no like personal experience with that, but to me, I think if I were to compare, then I think that environment to me is actually less dangerous than the environment of like lukewarmness or of like anything goes. Like like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like, so when people don't really like know God, like when they just kind of know him in their head, like, and they don't spend time to know him, like know what he said in his word, to read it every day, to like kind of like have a really close relationship with him, like, and they're kind of like half and half, or like maybe 2/3 and 1/3, like, or like, you know, of the world in them and of Christ in them. They're kind of like lukewarm. That puts you in like kind of like, oh, I'm okay situation. And I don't know, I feel like that is a more dangerous position to be, because that position is like you, like you're very prone to backsliding in that situation. And when you're prone to backsliding, you know, it's hard to, you know, to know if you're a true follower of Christ or not. And you might even do like what a lot of people do, like lie to yourself, like live in a delusion. And like, I mean, the thing that I'm afraid most as a Christian is to lie to myself and then to live a life of lie. And then when I meet God and God, like, I'm like, Lord, Lord, but then God look at me and say, no, I don't know you. I think that is the thing that most like scare me as a Christian. And so that's why a constant pursuit for truth, a constant examination of my life, my words, my action, my motive, my heart, and always examining where I am with the Lord. Have I grown in the Lord, or have I backslid in the Lord? And like, just take every thought captive, make sure that every thought that I think, that I put into my system, that I like allow to infiltrate into my thought process, I mean, like, always like weigh it, like always see if this is biblically accurate or not. And so like things like that, it's like a constant process, you know. And so like that place of lukewarmness, that place that can lead to self-deception, I think that is actually more dangerous than facing physical danger and death. Because physical danger and death, if you're like strong for the Lord, it actually, in a fight or flight mode, you know where you stand. And the worst thing that can happen is you know, especially if you're fighting for the Lord, if you are a believer, is that you die physically, but then you're going to be safe spiritually, and you can, you know, you're not going to have to live here anymore. But you know, like, the problem is a true spiritual death. If you die in your sin, if you die like not making God your Lord, the Lord of your life, then you know, then that's the sad death. Amen.